Welcome back to the Your Next Move podcast. My name is Kimberly Brown, and today's episode is going to be a little bit different. I had a moment in my car today that I felt like I needed to share. I created a little TikTok video, but I felt like this is something that actually needed to be a full podcast episode, even if it's only 5 to 10 minutes. So I was on my way to a networking event and I was exhausted. It was actually a networking lunch with one individual, and I just felt so depleted. I was in my car, and it wasn't the type of depletion where, oh my gosh, I need to not drive there because I won't be able to make it because I'm going to swerve off the road. It was more of this like internal, like, I just didn't have a lot of energy in my body. So I get into my car and I'm feeling lethargic, but I just went into my normal routine, which is automatically going to Spotify, seeing what podcasts are up from the people who I follow, and I immediately went into learning mode. So most of the podcasts that I listen to are all business based, business, personal development, brand development. I'm all focused on my business, right? So I put on one episode and I was like, I don't think I want to hear this. And then I put out another episode and I started listening. And by that time, I had made my halfway point, which was hitting Starbucks to get some cold brew. And while I was getting my cold brew to perk myself up, I had this thought and I was like, Kimberly, you don't need this. You don't need this information. You need to focus on the things that matter. You need to focus on the things that you are focusing on. And if it does not align with your focus areas, then you need to let it go. You need to not think about it. You need to not listen to it. And I had this moment where it really made me sit back and just be like, dang, Kim, like bring your brain back inside to yourself. My brain has been outside for a minute, right? If I told you the amount of coaching programs that I'm looking at that are on my list, the amount of podcasts that I'm listening to, different methodologies, I have different reasons for why I intake a book or a podcast or whatever it is. But I felt this calm and I was like, Kimberly, you need to go like 40 days and 40 nights without listening to things that are not aligned with your goals. So first, let me share what my goals are. So I have 3 big goals in my life right now. So number 1 is brand building. These are the things that are revenue generating for my business, the things that keep the lights on, if you will, right? And growing my brand, especially in preparation for my second book, right? I'm doing so much there. I'm investing a lot to make sure that I'm continuing to build my revenue and continuing to build my brand. Number 2, and a lot of you may relate to this, but waist shrinking, okay? AKA a weight loss journey. I have been on a weight loss journey for more years than I'd honestly like to admit. It's one of the things in my life that I probably struggle with the most, like my weight, my appearance. And I'm currently making some investments to really get on the good foot and take some action and also see the results that I like. Transparently, most of you who are probably listening to this or who've been listening for a long time, you know that my mom passed in August and I hadn't been on the scale in a long time, probably a few months. Like I knew I was gaining because my pants didn't fit. But when I got on the scale, baby, I'm up 13 pounds since August. Yes, do I know that this is completely normal when you're experiencing grief and stress and trauma? Yes. But am I okay with it? Hell no. Like my jeans don't fit. And I gave my fat jeans away. I went to Madewell, and if you don't know, shameless plug, little tangent here, you can turn in jeans from anywhere to Madewell and get credit for new jeans. So I took all of my jeans that were too big for me and I dropped them at Madewell. So I don't even have my big jeans anymore. I only have my smaller jeans. So my clothes literally don't fit. And that is something that I want to work on. And as a public speaker who is on stages, I was just on a stage last week, I am more confident when I feel good in my body. Can I dress to cover things up and feel okay? Yes, but I am much more confident and I believe in my performance and I just feel better mentally and physically when I am okay with my appearance. And right now I'm not. And last but not least, the third goal. So we said brand building, we said waist shrinking. The last one is stress annihilating. I may sound dramatic, y'all, but I need to work on my stress levels. It's directly connected to how I'm building my company and to my waist shrinking. Like anything that helps me reduce stress is what I should be working on. So these 3 areas, essentially, they could almost be like my core values are the 3 things that I need to align all of the content, all of the things that I'm working on here because I am in the midst of an information overload. My attention is being pulled in 18 different areas, and I'm wondering why I'm not reaching my goals. I'm wondering why I'm exhausted in my soul. I have a bunch of reasons to be exhausted, all right? Like someone who's building a business, experiencing grief, I'm married, got friends, got family, got all the things. I am well aware that there are 18 million reasons for me to be stressed out, but I'm not making it better by being in information overload, by my brain continuously being outside. So I'm challenging myself to reclaim my time. Reclaim my time. And if you're listening to this podcast, you may be like me where you are out here just listening to everything, every book, everything. But what I've noticed is that, especially for my clients who are doing this, is that you are not actually making progress because you're too busy consuming different methodologies, different thoughts, different ideas. So for me, another podcast I listened to, probably the last one for a little bit. Steph Crowder had a episode where she talked about, and I forget the actual name of the term that she used, but essentially it is like working procrastination, where you are creating projects for yourself to work on instead of your big goals. And that is how it shows up for me. It doesn't show up as inaction of me actually not doing anything because I'm consuming all this information. I'm just focusing on projects and little things that make my mind feel good, that give me this false sense of satisfaction and growth because I am working. I am working. I am doing all of these things, but it's not what I need to be doing. It's not aligned to building my brand, shrinking my waist, or annihilating my stress, right? So if this sounds like you, if you relate to this, I don't think I'm going to make this a formal challenge where I'm going to post about it every day and make it a whole series. If you want to see that, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram at Kimberly Be Online and let me know if you're like, Kimberly, share the journey on Instagram or TikTok. Let me know. But I wanted to share this almost behind the scenes of my mind of something that I'm working on because I know that despite how unique we all feel in this world, we are often not unique. We often have thoughts that other people have. And in having a brand that is public, by having this podcast, I think I have a responsibility to share and be vulnerable and open and honest and share things that I'm thinking about, that I'm struggling with, that I'm working on. So I'm in this with you if this is you. And if you want to lock in for 40 days and 40 nights and really hone in on your goals, I challenge you to do this. And the other thing that came up for me in this, when I came up with these 3 categories, it reminded me of a chapter in my book called Determining Your Core Values. And the crazy thing is that I feel like most concepts are similar. Most frameworks are not unique. It's a different way of saying the same thing. So in my book, when I talk about determining your core values, I say that it allows you to accept or reject opportunities as they come, because if they don't align with your core values, then you shouldn't be doing it, right? And essentially, my core values, I'm replacing that same strategy, that same framework, the core values framework, I'm just replacing with my goals. If it is not aligned to my goals, then I'm not going to be working on it. Another person who I follow online and listen to their podcast is Gina Knox. And she always talks about when you make investments, they should be solving current problems. A lot of times we will invest in opportunities, invest in experiences to solve a future problem, meaning that you haven't solved the problems you got right now. You're working on future problems, learning information that you cannot implement. And then you're wondering why you're not making progress. You're wondering why you're over investing and you don't have a lot of results to show. So sharing all that, now I feel like I'm just yapping with y'all, right? Sharing all that to say that I'm going to lock in and I am going to focus on these 3 areas and really give myself a solid chance at seeing some movement in my goals. Because as I've been journaling lately, I've been getting more and more frustrated with myself because I've seen patterns in things that I haven't overcome. But it's also because I'm pivoting and I'm procrastinating by doing these smaller projects that are not attached to my bigger vision. They are not attached to the larger goal. So I'm locking in. I say 40 days and 40 nights because it sounds good. It's probably going to be longer than that because I've got some big goals and it's going to take more than 40 days to shrink this waist back down. I'm actually about to go and go buy some other jeans so I can at least be comfortable being outside and have jeans that fit me the way I need them to fit. But I'm going to let y'all go. But again, check in with me on Instagram or TikTok at Kimberly Be Online if you need to lock in and get clear on your big goals and start consuming information and focusing more efforts in those areas so that you can make your next move your best move. That's what this is all about, right? So until next time, as always, may your next move be your very best move. Thanks for listening, y'all.